With just 6 days until SummerSlam, we've got a lot to discuss, including, did Randy Orton really turn heel on Monday Night Raw? Roman Reigns and John Cena go face-to-face for the first time, and we have a new Intercontinental Champion. Let's get it all started right now.
This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
Becky Lynch is going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my idol. You're going to acknowledge me.
All right, everybody, welcome to the WWE Podcast for this week in review. Hope all is well with you. I hope that your summer's going well. Unbelievably, we are halfway through August and September's around the corner. And after that, it just becomes football and it becomes pumpkin spice everything. It becomes just a fall bonanza. So you've really got 2 weeks left of summer, even if the weather doesn't change. Most people have already kind of turned to fall and all that. So, but that means it's SummerSlam season for us. And we've got so much to talk about tonight with SummerSlam just 6 days away. And I got to say, I feel like an absolute fool because I just realized, like in the last 24 hours, that SummerSlam is on a Saturday, not Sunday. I put down the 21st. I'm like, no, that can't be right. I must have meant the 22nd because the 22nd is a Sunday. When is the last time we had a pay-per-view on a Saturday? So I felt like an idiot thinking that it was a Sunday. But hey, in my defense, there aren't too many pay-per-views that happened or have happened that are outside of Sunday night. So Sunday is not the pay-per-view day. It is Saturday in Vegas. What is expected to be a raucous, crazy night that WWE is going to be putting out to us. And they have said vocally that they believe this is their WrestleMania this year, that they're treating it as such. And that should tell you everything you need to know about potential returns, about storylines progressing or ending or beginning or swerves or title changes. It's going to be a big night. It's going to be a big night in front of 60,000 plus people in the stadium in Vegas. It's going to be so much fun. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to really feel like that WWE is really back, right? Because yes, we had WrestleMania with half the fans there, or not even, probably like a quarter. Then we got the fans back on a weekly basis, which has been awesome. But now that big ticket event where it's just that different atmosphere when you have 60,000 people or more, it changes the game and it makes you really feel like wrestling's back and back in a big way with a full stadium, not a partially filled stadium, not a COVID restricted stadium, but rather just full bore. And I'm looking forward to it this Saturday night. Man, I really don't remember the last time something was on a Saturday. Like Shotgun Saturday night, Taboo Tuesday. I really don't know. So I can't wait. And we've got a lot to discuss. As I said, I just finished up watching SmackDown. I know I'm always behind everybody. And Michael Ritter did an awesome job giving you his review and his thoughts, and always a great analysis from him. But I will give you mine. It is a more heavy SmackDown analysis than it is Raw. I will touch on Raw with some additional thoughts on if Randy Orton truly turned heel or not. I may be changing my tune on what I said on my Monday Night Raw review, but we'll get to that in a minute. But first, thank you everybody for tuning in. And this is your SummerSlam hub. And what I mean by that is we are going to have wall-to-wall coverage. We will have previews and predictions coming up on Friday night here on the WWE Podcast. We are going to have a show immediately following the pay-per-view that'll be done that night, and it'll be up within hours after the pay-per-view is over. So that'll be up hopefully with YouTube's The Botch Guy. I'm trying to confirm things with him. It's been wacky on my end and on his end. So hopefully we're able to link up. We typically do. link up for pay-per-views. And if you guys haven't checked out the Botch Guy, for goodness sakes, go check out the Botch Guy on YouTube. Give him a sub. He is one of the most authentic and genuinely good guys on YouTube, and always willing to help out other wrestling creators and wrestling channels and podcasts. So just a great guy. Go check out the Botch Guy on YouTube. And so that is the weekend schedule, along with every other show that you're going to normally get this week. And I'm looking forward to it. So if you want ad-free, by the way, you don't want to deal with ads all weekend long with SummerSlam. You just want to listen to the wrestling content. We have an easy way for you to do that. It's on Apple Podcasts. If you are already subscribed to us, there's an ad-free version. If you just go to your normal feed on your iPhone, there's a little button at the very top that says, want ad-free? Click here. And you can get an ad-free experience that way, or on Patreon, which is only $1 to join, and you get a bunch of other benefits, which I really can't highly recommend enough. The biggest benefit, outside of every show we've done ad-free, including SummerSlam and beyond, is the Discord server that we will be doing for SummerSlam during the pay-per-view, where we will be only for Patreon members on this server. It's a little VIP chat room area that we get on, and we talk as the pay-per-view is going on in real time. We react in real time. We have a great conversation. It's a blast to be able to just talk to wrestling fans that are watching the show live with you. So I would really recommend that if you want to get into that and get that link to the Discord server, you can do that if you join on Patreon. So head on over there. It's just $1 for the entire month, and you can't go wrong. So, all right, with that out of the way and letting you guys know our SummerSlam plans, and I'm really excited for this Saturday night. I'm not going to get used to saying Saturday night. Let's jump into this week. Let's jump into the first thing that hits my mind, which is the John Cena Roman Reigns face-to-face that happened. I'm glad they did it. I was worried they weren't going to do it to protect Roman Reigns and to protect his weaknesses, to hide them, mitigate them. And I understand why. Because you've made so much progress with this guy over the last year now. It's almost been an exact year since he's been a heel after he returned at last year's SummerSlam. And you don't want to take away from that by having a part-time guy come in and mow him down for no good reason and really do the exact opposite job and the exact opposite goal that you were set out to achieve by bringing in John Cena, which is help put over the new talent. So I was worried that they weren't going to do that for that reason, but we did get it. And I got to say, it was a little weird. If John Cena never says 1, 2, 3 again, I won't be sad. I think we heard it one too many times, pun intended. Look, John Cena is one of the best of all time on the mic. We know what Roman Reigns is. He's not a good verbal jouster. He even admitted that during the promo. He said, that's not my game. And it's kind of a cool thing that he acknowledged that. Roman Reigns will never be as good as John Cena on the microphone. I think at this point we can kind of put that aside as a expectation of Roman Reigns, that he is going to be at that top level, being able to joust with John Cena, with somebody like Stone Cold Steve Austin. I mean, it's not going to happen at that level. But Roman Reigns has improved in his own way. He just hasn't and won't, I don't think, ever get to that level. And that's fine. You got to give Roman Reigns credit and the creative team for getting Roman Reigns to the level that he's at now, albeit reluctantly taking forever to turn him heel, and boom, what a success he was. But to be able to get to this level without being a great talker is really a testament to Roman Reigns and the other ways he makes up for his lack of verbal jousting abilities. His body language has improved immeasurably. His in-ring has improved immeasurably. His promo, when he does cut them, are real. They're authentic. He's more himself as a heel. His promo, or his intro rather, has improved. It's changed. It's been modified. His attire has changed. He doesn't come through the crowd. He doesn't feel like he's a corporate creation anymore. It's everything that we despised about the babyface Roman Reigns has been completely revamped and remodeled and renovated. And now he's got the weakness of verbal jousting. And you know what? He will do just fine. He's already in the Hall of Fame. But let's get back to SmackDown and what I thought about John Cena and Roman. And they threw some good jabs. And Roman, to his credit, did throw some Nikki Bella jabs at him. The whole missionary comment that was made for a couple of weeks was thrown at John, and John threw it back and said, for somebody making D jokes, you're talking about, missionary position, all that kind of thing. He did throw it back at John, or throw it back at Roman, and Roman did, I think, fairly well. John Cena, I don't think was as good as I've seen him before. And I don't know if that's by design or if it's simply by he didn't have the material that he wanted to work with. Because he already said what he had to say back in 2017 when they first had their infamous War of Words. That War of Words that they had in 2017, which has never been brought up ever, at least in storyline, I think was a much more scalding, memorable John Cena promo than this one was. I don't need to hear the 1, 2, 3. And why is he going to take the title and run out of the arena and blow a kiss goodbye? Wait, John, what are you talking about, John? Why would you run away? I don't get that. Doesn't make sense. But I don't think it was great. I don't think it was super memorable. It was good. But I think the problem is that when you have an expectation of these two coming together, and especially with John Cena being so good on the mic, you think that this is going to be something epic and exceed their 2017 interaction. And I don't think it did. And John Cena didn't leave with a mic drop line. He didn't. It was kind of, I don't want to say lame, but the bar was set so high, maybe unfairly high. So again, I was fine with the promo with one another, and it did what it needed to do. Now, here's something very interesting. Something glaring. Guys, I'm gonna give you a little pop quiz. What was a glaring omission, or rather, who was a glaring omission from SmackDown this week? If you guessed Finn Balor, you would be right. Unless it wasn't on the Hulu version, which they don't cut a whole lot because it's SmackDown, not Raw. They don't have as much time to cut. I gotta say, Finn Balor not being there makes things very interesting. And I made note of this because with Finn saying last week that he was going to eventually deal with John Cena for what he did, stealing his opportunity, it makes me wonder. It makes me wonder what SummerSlam could hold. Now, this is not my official prediction. That'll be coming later this week, probably after SmackDown, which it will have to be, is that Finn Balor may have something to say about that title match between those two. And if I was to make a prediction right now, I would say that Roman retains. I think Roman will retain. He should retain. And we have Finn Balor be the reason for a John Cena loss. Because Finn Balor has legitimate gripe with John Cena. John never addressed Finn directly and said, hey, man, I'm so sorry for taking your opportunity. None of that. I mean, if he was such a good soldier about hustle, loyalty, and respect, well, the loyalty and respect part certainly got dropped when he signed the contract and stole the opportunity from Finn. That was never addressed. So there's a wide open rivalry right there with Finn Balor and John Cena. The big things with that are, if Finn Balor does that at SummerSlam and screws John Cena, you immediately turn Finn Balor heel, assumingly. Although maybe the audience may cheer that, depending on the dynamic and demographic of the audience in attendance in Vegas. But you also would have to assume that John Cena would stick around for at least one more pay-per-view. And I don't know if that's going to be the case. I haven't heard whether or not John Cena is indeed going to stick around longer than, through the end of August. I heard he's going to be on the SmackDown after, and then that's it. But that's how I think, if I was going to guess today, how the finish is going to be booked for SummerSlam. So that's my thought right now. Again, things could change depending on what SmackDown has to say. I will say this: if Finn Balor is missing again this coming Friday and we don't hear from him and you hear nothing, expect him to have a say in the championship match at SummerSlam and likely turn heel. So that's my thought on that right now. They did a good job, but it wasn't at the level that I thought it could be. And there may be more of a war of words. Maybe they have more to say to each other next week, although I think now the next thing is who's going to hit their finish on the other first. And I think maybe John Cena hits an AA on Roman Reigns, stands tall, and holds up the championship to end the show next week. Maybe that's what happens. I think that's probably what does happen. So, all right, let's move on. And I want to talk about Baron Corbin. Man, this guy is awesome. I have been singing his praises for a couple of weeks now, and they have done such a great job, they being Baron and creative, with this character. It's been so much fun to see this just poor, pathetic, ungrateful guy grow out his hair and wear the same ketchup-stained shirt to every show. It's awesome. And what they've done beyond the show is also let you know behind the scenes what's going on Twitter or on some other sports websites of Baron Corbin caught trying to steal a Raw superstar's wallet. He stole the Money in the Bank briefcase this week, and it's been great. And it makes a logical sense because you have a guy who's ungrateful. He got the stipulation this week that if he lost to Kevin Owens, which is good to see him back, by the way, he's been kind of lost in the abyss. But having the stipulation be if Corbin loses, he has to stop begging. Well, what does a beggar do when he can't beg anymore? He steals. So having this lowlife start to steal from people is going to be fun to watch. It's going to be hilarious. So maybe steal their championships, try to sell them for money, maybe try to auction stuff on eBay. I don't know. I mean, like maybe they could do so much with this. Have him, be an Uber driver or something. Have dash cam footage of him in an Uber driving situation. There's just so much. Or being a server at a restaurant. You can do so much with this. I hope they don't overproduce it. I'm concerned that when WWE sees something that's catching on fire that they didn't anticipate catching on fire so well, that they go, oh, we've got it. Let's make it even better. And once they recognize that it's on fire and they try to make it better and put more into it, it actually gets worse. So it's almost as if I want WWE to not recognize how good this is. And we all should just keep it a secret of how awesome this is. Because when WWE recognizes it, they shove it down our throats. They often overproduce it, and it loses its specialness, so to speak. So that's what I'm worried about. I mean, they know, right? Like, it's not going to be a secret whatsoever. But that has been the case with several things in the past. Like when they see something, they just kill it dead because they bury it and they go, oh, we got something. Let's give them more and more and more. And oftentimes that doesn't work. So, but I love this. I mean, I'm loving what Baron Corbin has done. He's revived his career in a way that you never expected it to be revived. And when they originally started this, I thought, hey, are they trying to turn him babyface? He's kind of pathetic. You feel bad for him. And then it quickly became clear that no, they are just going for the ungrateful kind of jackass. And it's so much fun to watch. It's so much fun. I love it. So we'll see what happens next week. The last thing I'll say about Corbin anyway, is he stole the Money in the Bank briefcase. And the announcers did acknowledge he can't do that. He can't cash it in. Well, wait a minute. You just told me that John Cena stole a contract from Finn and it's legal. Why isn't the contract that Baron Corbin stole from Big E legal? If we're extending that logic to another situation, Because Big E maybe signed the contract, or maybe he didn't. I don't know. But we'll see how long that goes. I don't know. Anyway. All right. Well, I love this. And Kevin Owens back on SmackDown in a relevant role of sorts is good to see. The Stunner's fun. Seeing Baron Corbin get beat up, asking the fans for $1,000 each is it's good stuff. Begging people and having people still boo the guy just is good. And having Kevin Owens say, "Okay, I'll give you $1,000 if you can beat me," and Corbin still loses. He's about to go through bankruptcy, file for bankruptcy. Again, this could be a lot of fun. The thing is, I don't know what the end game is. I would think it's something along the lines of somebody who eventually has a bunch of money will come along and pick this guy up, and Corbin will do the dirty work for whoever has a ton of money, and he'll get paid from this individual. And that's how he'll eventually get back to a gimmick that's not about him being super poor. So that's my thought. What I'm thinking of is, although a much different dynamic, is JBL and Shawn Michaels in the late 2000s. If you remember, JBL was basically enslaving Shawn Michaels, who had, quote, run on hard times in storyline. He had come across hard times. He needed the money, and he was doing the bidding begrudgingly of JBL to simply feed his family and to get, just basically be a family man and provide for his family. So that was the logic for Shawn Michaels not turning heel, but doing the bidding of a heel that he really didn't have a choice to do if he wants to feed his family. So he eventually did get his buyout from JBL after he beat him in a match. And that's eventually what happened that year. I believe it was 2010. He faced The Undertaker at WrestleMania. And WrestleMania 25. So yeah, that was 2010. So they could do something like that. That's the end game here, I think, is to eventually find somebody that Corbin can latch on to and leech off of that's willing to pay him, but in exchange, ask for his services and ask for him to do the dirty work of whatever that individual needs. So that's what I think. Seth Rollins this week was good. Really good. Seth feels alive again. Seth's character feels like it has substance again. He's not just a wrestling character, so to speak. He feels reinvigorated. And I'm sure he would say the same thing if he was on this show. He would say, yeah, this is great. I mean, he would never say this publicly, but he would say, if he wanted to, and I'm sure he's thinking it, man, this is so much better than the Mysterios and being involved in like an endless loop of facing the same guys. That's probably what he's thinking. It's so nice to see Seth in a program that is new, right? We all love new. And it has ties back to 2014. They actually showed a quick snip of the footage of Edge in 2014 with this kind of a crazy haircut that he had and with Seth's boot on his head, right? I don't know why they're not emphasizing that more. Seth should make that his like logo for the next week. I mean, I don't know why they're not having this be more of a prevalent image in your minds of, hey, this is where it started. So anyway, at least they showed it in a brief snip. I think the line about his daughter or his kids having to push him around in a wheelchair was really fun. What I mean by fun is effective. Seth delivered this brilliantly. The video package he showed about anything Edge can do, I've done better, was really well done. Really like top grade. And at this point, you don't expect anything less from the whole video editing team at WWE. They're always just incredibly talented over there. And it was just very well done, and it built heat for Seth, who needs a little heat right now on this program, and it makes you want to see Edge respond to this because he talked about his family, he degraded his career and minimized his accomplishments. it's been a really fun program, and I'm looking forward to this building continuing next week, the night before SummerSlam. So I think this is going to be good. Their match I expect to be top notch. It could be, and has the potential to be, a match of the night candidate. Maybe even the odds-on favorite when you look at some of the other matchups here. I mean, we've got John Cena, Roman Reigns. It's not going to be like, a super technical match, probably power moves and things like that. It's going to be fun. But you look at Bill Goldberg and Bobby Lashley. I mean, we know what we're getting there. Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. I'll get to that in a minute. So this is at least on paper in contention for match of the night. So we'll see if they actually execute that. But I'm just excited for this matchup, and I want to see what Edge says in response to Seth Rollins. It's good stuff. And Seth also said he wouldn't hesitate to finish the job this time. I mean, it's just what a slimy guy. It's good. It's great. So, the Street Profits are back in full bore, and they face the Alpha Academy, getting a victory over them after Angelo Dawkins hit Chad Gable with a corkscrew neck breaker. So the Street Profits get back on track. It saved Otis here. I have no problem with the Street Profits getting a victory here. They need to get back on the winning side of things. It also protected Otis. No damage done. It elevated both teams because it made you want to see what Otis is going to do next week. And it also elevated the Street Profits to give them a win and get them back in the mind of fans of challenging for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. And so I think it's good. This wasn't a super memorable segment here, but it was effective and it was progressive. It moved the storyline forward. What more can you ask for? The Mysterios defeated Ziggler and Robert Roode via pinfall after one of the, again, you want to talk some of the lowlights of SmackDown, and there's not many at all. I mean, it's really actually hard to dismantle SmackDown. But one way I can is having to listen to the mindless, unrealistic banter every week between Dominic and Ray. I said this, I think, last week too. Who the hell calls their dad Pops? I mean, it's maybe a few people out there. And who the hell else calls their son? It's so scripted. Who talks? Nobody talks like that. Most sane, normal people walking around this earth don't say, hey, don't sit down and say, hey, son, I want to teach you a lesson. It's awful. The writing for these two is awful, and I have to hear it every week. And it ends in a hug and how we're going to overcome and all this stuff. I mean, hell, have Nikki just join them at this point. They can all just make out in a three-way while they're singing Kumbaya around a campfire. I don't know. I can't stand these two when they talk. In the ring, they're fine. I just don't want anyone to open their mouths. Can they just learn sign language or just get subtitles or something for them? I don't know. I don't need to hear these two talk with one another. That does nothing for me other than reaffirm the fact that you guys are just reading your lines. And maybe it only bothers me as much. And nobody else is even thinking about it. But, when Rey Mysterio calls Dominic son, it's almost like he doesn't want to replace the name son with his own son's name. I don't know. Okay, let's move on. I'm ranting about really nothing here. So, okay, this match was fine. I have no qualms about it. It was quick. We had Dominic get a good old roll up. So that was roll up number 2 of the night after, of course, Kevin Owens defeated Baron Corbin with a sunset flip, which is a roll up. So you got 2 roll ups for the night. I think they fulfilled their quota of roll ups. And the Usos, though, appeared on the Titantron, or just now as it's known as the Tron, in an effort to cause a distraction. But the Mysterios managed to pick up the win anyway, in despite of them. So Mysterios will face Usos at SummerSlam, of which I expect the Usos to train wreck them. I don't want. I mean, if Ray and Dominic never showed up on SmackDown again at this point, I really wouldn't care. I have about zero interest exactly. I think it's scientifically proven exactly 0% interest in Dominic at this point. None. He's just like the wallpaper, right? Like he's there. It's nice to look at once in a while, but it doesn't bring much to the table. There's no substance to it. It's just there. It's just part of the decor in the room, or like a house plant, right? I mean, anyway, I know I'm crapping on Dominic. I'm not taking it away anything from him in the ring, but man, when those two interact, it's painful. So, alrighty. Well, let's talk about two more things here on SmackDown. The Intercontinental Championship, Shinsuke Nakamura defeating Apollo Crews via pinfall to win the title. So Rick Boogs did his normal interference with his guitar playing, resulting in him getting booted. And Commander Aziz also tried to get in the ring to attack Nakamura, resulting in him getting ejected. So there was a lot more back and forth after that. Nakamura managed to finally hit the Kinshasa, scored the pinfall to become a 2-time Intercontinental Champion. This match was really good. And I think it's the match of the night, dare I say, for whatever that's worth. I think it was the match of the night. Fun to watch. Shinsuke has also revived his career, and Rick Boogs has, I think, added something to Shinsuke that wasn't there before. I don't know what that is. Substance, personality, even though Shinsuke's not really talking. He's the king and has this very charismatic Rick Boogs with him. It's ironic, too, that they are calling, or that when Shinsuke first debuted, if you remember, when Shinsuke first debuted in WWE, they referred to him as a rock star, like the resident rock star of WWE, right? Or the resident superhero. No, that was resident superhero was Ricochet. He was the rock star. Remember that? And ironically now he's got, quote, kind of a rock star with him. So he's kind of turned into what they originally said he was. So I'm enjoying it. It's certainly much better than what they did with Shinsuke for, my God, months, dare I say a couple of years now, where he's been in and out of relevancy. And sometimes you wonder if he's going to make the cut or whatever. So I like this. I'm a fan of Shinsuke Nakamura. Rick Boogs is fine. I haven't really formulated an opinion on him yet. I'd like Shinsuke to do a little more talking, for whatever that's worth. I know that he's limited in English, but find a way to get to communicate with the fans, because he's a babyface and he needs to. Now, as far as Apollo Crews goes, I have to say I'm a bit sad that he lost the championship. But I said this last week. You could see the writing on the wall. When they stop giving guys mic time, and they kind of fade away a little bit into the background, you see the writing on the wall. You kind of get a sense that the title change is imminent. The same thing could be said for Sheamus. Sheamus, I think, is imminently going to lose that championship, more than likely, if not 100% chance at SummerSlam. And again, I'm just kind of sad because I feel like Apollo, while he had a good run, I feel like they just stopped the momentum in its tracks. They just stopped giving him mic time. They just stopped making him a prominent part of SmackDown. And I don't know why, because I think Apollo was doing very well. Very well. The way he was speaking, his viciousness, his arrogance. Commander Aziz was fine. It added some backup to him. I don't know. I think there was more juice to squeeze, and I'm a little bit disappointed there. I really am, because I think Apollo had more there. I really do. So I don't know why they couldn't have waited until SummerSlam for this change. Another title change, another title match that we just have normalized on free TV. And it's a shame. It's a shame that we've normalized title changes, title matches, much less title changes, major title changes, not the 24/7 title, on free TV. I know people are saying, oh, that's cool, right? No, it's not. It just dilutes the importance of pay-per-views, where championship matches would exclusively take place, and the very rare occasion on free TV where it did felt important. And now they're using these title changes and title matches on free TV as a crutch to draw more ratings. But unfortunately, what they're not understanding is, but by doing that, yeah, you may get a small spike in the ratings, but it's not sustainable, and it's eventually going to result in a net loss, because you're going to eventually take the pay-per-view importance factor out of it, because fans are going to go, well, they'll just have a title match on SmackDown or Raw, and maybe they'll win it back there. I don't want to feel that way. And ultimately, also, fans are going to stop tuning in to just see title matches because they're there all the time. So, all right, that's a side conversation, a side rant. But it was cool to see. The fans were involved in this. The fans were really behind Nakamura. And it's fun to see. So, congrats to Nakamura. And you know, Apollo Crews, maybe he's on to bigger, better things. We'll see. I think the draft could do him some good. And I also thought about this random thought. What about Commander Aziz and Omos in the ring? I mean, what would that look like? Who would win that? You would think Omos. I'll just stick with Omos. I would think Omos versus Commander Aziz would be a hell of a attraction. It'd be a fun moment. I don't think you'd get a great match out of it. But anyway, just food for thought. Okay, well, then we get to Sasha Banks and Bianca. And I've said this week after week, and I'll continue to say it, Bianca feels like a champion. Bianca doesn't feel like she's playing pretend like Rhea Ripley did. She feels legitimate. She's got momentum behind her, the good old momentum. She does. She feels authentic. There's a connection with the fans. It's good. It's fun. And you want to see her succeed. And having Sasha there, who is just, when she laughs, she's just the worst type of person, I got to say. And I mean that in a just groan-inducing way. Her laugh is not heat-seeking. It's channel-changing. I cannot... That's the one thing where all the awesome things that Sasha Banks is and what she does, her laugh is overused. I think Seth Rollins is on that same page where it's not heat. It's not a heat-seeking quality. It just makes you cringe and go, yeah, I don't want to watch this. I just want to change the channel. So people that say, oh, they're pissing you off, that's what they're supposed to do, I would say, no, not when they want to make you change the channel. That's different. But it's fleeting. It doesn't last long. But when she laughs, I think she relies too much on her laugh. I think a lot of people do, honestly. The kind of like nervous tick laugh that happens with a lot of people that cut promos. I think Sasha Banks is at the top of the annoyance of her laugh. It's not endearing. It's not heat-seeking. It's actually, like I said. Anyway, but the actual segment went fine. We had Sonya Deville overseeing this contract signing, and Sonya quickly got a hold of the situation, saying, we're not going to do this. These contract signings break down. We need signatures. And just as Sasha is about to sign it, she says she brought backup in the likes of Zelina Vega and Carmella. So those two are there, and we have Sasha saying, see, I'm 2 steps ahead of you. And then Sasha signs. We get Bianca signing on her line. So it's official. And then those two beat down. Actually, Bianca held her own for a while, and then eventually gets beat down by the numbers game and gets the bank statement applied to her on top of the contract table to close the show. So I'm fine with this. In fact, I really like it because it makes you wonder about a couple of things. One, is there indeed a possibility for a woman's faction? Does WWE even realize that there could be a woman's faction, or do they think that they don't have the numbers to do it? Maybe they're thinking, well, we don't have enough women as it is. Why will we stick them all in one pot? Because that's how you make stars, is by a faction. But WWE can't hold their factions together longer than a month. I mean, they have a very terrible history of women's, or not even just women's, men's factions staying together. Hurt Business, Austin Theory, Zelina Vega. I mean, and of course the beloved Iconics. So I would love to see a heel faction in the women's division. How about that? Bring it up. I mean, bring them up. I don't care if you have the NXT or maybe just bring somebody in from Independence. I don't care. There could be a really fun thing to do there. Really fun thing to do. And I would be all for it. I'd be all for it. And just because when's the last time we saw a woman's faction, not a tag team? I'm saying 3 or more. Tell me. I don't know. So it'd be fun as hell. And so I just thought about that with Sasha Banks and Zelina and Carmella as a faction. It'd be fun. Maybe. Oh wait, no. I have a flashback here. Remember, I think Paige had something called the Submission Sorority, and that got quickly changed. This is a PG show, but use your imagination why they rebranded that team. So yes, wait a minute. I know Paige had one, but I don't know one that actually stood its ground and made an impact on me to go, ooh, that was awesome. So just kind of a missed opportunity there. So anyway, let me go into the other thing. Sonya Deville has been on the sidelines, so to speak, for quite some time. She's not been an active in-ring competitor for what seems like over a year, maybe more. And she's good on the mic, and I think her talents are wasted as a kind of a quasi GM role on SmackDown. I think her talents lie within the ring, on the mic, cutting a promo against someone. And I think that could all change at SummerSlam. Perhaps, when she screws Bianca Belair from regaining the championship. Perhaps. Just another little bit of food for thought. It's not my official prediction, but I think we all want to see Sonya in a more immersive and complete role than just a WWE official, of which we never got an explanation, by the way, how that happened. No one ever explained it. She just showed up and is like, oh yeah, she's an official now. Well, how'd that happen? Right? Is there no training? Like, what is this? So I think we all want to see her back in ring doing what she does best. So perhaps she does indeed make herself known and make WWE officials or WWE creative make it known that, yeah, she's moving back to a in-ring capacity. So I think that'll be fun. All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about Monday Night Raw and the biggest storyline coming out of Raw, which is not the dripstick and Miz suddenly having a miracle recovery, but rather Randy Orton's RKO to Riddle. And I thought about it some more. I listened to some other podcasts, and I'm not stealing thoughts from anybody. They just, other shows I listened to made me really kind of rethink my original position on this, which was, my original was that he did turn heel, but there's an out for Randy. And I think that out does still stand. And I actually don't think this is a heel turn. I stood by on Monday night. I said that, yeah, this is probably a heel turn. Now I'm thinking it's not a heel turn because of the body language of Randy Orton after he delivered the RKO. He didn't do it out of spite. Randy Orton didn't deliver it because he felt like it. Randy Orton didn't deliver it and then, give Riddle the punt. Randy Orton warned Riddle over and over and over, stay out of my business. I'm better as a one-man unit. I'm better, and Riddle just continued to push and push and push. And so Riddle kind of got what's coming to him after he didn't listen to Randy. And Randy Orton's body language after was kind of like, what do you want me to do, kid? That's what I drew from what I saw from Randy. If I was to, translate the body language into actual audible words, was that. So with that said, I still believe that they will challenge Omos and AJ Styles for the Raw Tag Team titles at SummerSlam. I still believe that will be the case. And they could win them. In fact, I think there's a very strong chance that they win them. And the fans go crazy. And Randy just succumbs to the whole RK Bro thing, which I think could sell merchandise like gangbusters. I do. Now you could have them win it and then Randy RKOs him again, fully turning heel. Kind of an unprovoked RKO where you go, okay, Randy, that wasn't needed. Why'd you do that? Instead of like a show-long warning. It was like the entire show Randy told him, leave me alone. And, he just kept poking the bear, and eventually the bear is going to bite. It's kind of Riddle's own fault. So perhaps that's how these two come together on Monday night, is saying, Randy, I'm sorry. It is my fault. I did keep pushing you, and that's what I got. So I think easily Riddle, with his kind of very laid back attitude, is what he will say on Monday night, setting up this match with AJ and Omos at SummerSlam for the Raw Tag Team titles. Because I don't think fans want to see Randy versus Riddle. They don't. They don't want to see it. They want these two in a team. And I think they've got an undeniable chemistry, a chemistry that is not easily produced. It doesn't come along often. And when you get it, you capitalize on it. I know Randy is great as a single star. And yes, his greatest matches are as a singles competitor. But when you have something like this and the merchandising opportunities and the fans are vocally strongly in favor of it, you go with it. And you haven't even got a chance to really let it breathe. It feels like it hasn't even got started. So that's what I hope. I don't want to see another turn from Randy again. I don't. Fans want them to go and win a tag team championship. And then we'll see what happens from there. And eventually they'll break up, yes. So that's what I took from Raw. The biggest takeaway is I don't think it's a full heel turn. I don't. So leave that for what you may. Let me know what you guys think about that. Of course, we'll see tomorrow night on Monday Night Raw whether or not I am my findings are validated or they're not. So another thing on Monday Night Raw, let's see. Bobby Lashley and MVP had words for Goldberg, which whatever. I mean, they were fine. They were good. MVP had a bunch of cracked ribs. Apparently he was able to yell through that. I'm telling you right now, cracked ribs, bruised ribs, with how many he said he had, he would not be able to deliver a promo like that. Anyway, it was fine. Going after his kid, all that kind of stuff, fine. Goldberg, you can guarantee, will be there this Monday night. It'll be fun. So what I shouldn't say fun. It'll be fun because it's over and we can go past Goldberg and he can go back to being at home and doing his jiu-jitsu or banging his head against some kind of hard object and making himself bleed. I don't know. Whatever he does in his spare time. Motorcycles, I don't know, some kind of MMA training. I don't know. So that's probably what we should expect. Now, as far as big returns at the pay-per-view, big returns, I see two of them. One. Well, let me say one is extremely likely, and that is Becky Lynch. I think Becky Lynch will be in the back of everyone's mind in Allegiant Stadium in Vegas when that Raw Women's Championship match is concluded. You will see Becky Lynch likely at the end of that, at the very latest, the Monday Night Raw after. I think Becky she dyed her hair back to orange. She's in great shape. I think she's about ready to go. So I think it's creative. The WWE creative is the one that's stifling this return right now. So I think it's going to be at SummerSlam or the Monday Night Raw after, which will be fun. I think the fans are going to explode. They're waiting for it. We are all waiting for it. It'll be a great addition to the to the women's division. No question about it. As far as Brock Lesnar goes, there's been rumors of that too. I don't think so. I think that Brock, maybe more Survivors. I don't know. I mean, the thing is, if you're going to do Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley, that is a big stage. That's a SummerSlam or WrestleMania stage. The problem is Bobby Lashley's not going to hold the belt likely through WrestleMania. So that means you'd have to wait another, 7 months, nearly 8 months until Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley happens. I don't think that's good because you want to strike while the iron's hot. You don't know where people are going to be in 8 months, injury-wise, title-wise. So perhaps we get Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar at a B pay-per-view. I mean, it's possible. I would just do it while they can. I mean, so I think Brock is a 50-50 chance. I think Becky Lynch is like a 95% chance of returning at SummerSlam. So that's what I think anyway. Let's see what else. Oh, the one thing I want to talk about, the wink from Lily. People are losing their minds over this. I've just kind of thrown up my arms about Lily. I'm over this whole thing. I know Alexa Bliss. I don't think they know what to do with her right now. I don't think they know where this character's end game is. I don't think they do. They're just kind of going week to week with some minor hocus pocus things. And unfortunately, Lily's back. I think Lily coming back is a bad idea. I think the fans crapping all over Lily to begin with is warranted because you have a haunted doll on Raw where SmackDown is dominating with stars and cohesive storylines and a shorter show. You have Raw with a damn haunted doll that's winking at people. It is, look, I'm a fan of Alexa Bliss, but there's a time where you just got to kind of call it, right? You go, okay, it was a fun run. It's time for a change. And I don't know what that is exactly. I'm not saying she should go back to being Alexa Bliss from, a couple of years ago, but I think she certainly needs some kind of alteration, something. And I don't know what that is. I don't have the answer, but you just know when it's time to kind of move on. And it seems as if they're doing the exact opposite and doubling down. So I don't know. Drew McIntyre and Jinder Mahal. I have to say, I said this on, I believe I said this on my Monday Night Raw review. I am not opposed to this rivalry. I mean, first of all, where else is Drew going to go right now? We're about to hit the brand refresh button in a month or so. Maybe 2 months. I got to look at the latest date. And where else is he going to go? And there's history there. And it's Drew out of the title picture, which is what we all wanted, and we got it. So there's no better time and place to have Jinder Mahal and Drew McIntyre right now. And it keeps Drew McIntyre babyface. I think he was on the verge of turning heel by default. And I think Jinder Mahal is a decent heel. I know many people hate him and disagree and think he's a waste of time and he's overproduced. And I think he's fine. I really do. He plays the foreign menace, the arrogant foreign menace very well. He's got a very punchable face. And he's got backup to do his dirty work. I mean, it's very basic, and I'm fine with that. So those are my thoughts there. And I would like to have Drew stop trying to slice people with a sword because we all know it's not going to happen. Like, we all know it's not going to happen. I appreciate the sentimental value of what the sword means. I actually, I'm not being facetious. I really do appreciate that because I think it finally added something to his story that was relevant, instead of just random war general stories. But I would like him to stop trying to use the sword as a weapon. I know he won't because it's a thing now. Because we all know he's not going to actually slice somebody with it. Like we know that, right? So let's not pretend that he's going to. So, all right. Well, that is the week in review. Of course, if you want a much more detailed look at my Monday Night Raw thoughts, you can go check out that Monday Night Raw review. I just don't want to repeat myself from the Monday Night Raw review, as I'm trying to mitigate that as much as possible. I know I have a bad habit of repeating myself. The very fact I'm telling you I repeat myself is kind of an oxymoron. But thank you, everybody, for joining me here. Again, stay with us through SummerSlam because we've got a ton of content coming up. A ton. Again, preview shows. We've got the review show itself from SummerSlam and everything else in between with the highs and lows of the week and NXT, AEW Dynamite. And it's going to be a huge week potentially for AEW. CM Punk rumors flying everywhere. They're in Chicago this Friday night, which makes SmackDown that much more fun if they're trying to oppose SmackDown with a Monday night or with a CM Punk debut at AEW Dynamite Rampage in Chicago. it's going to be a hell of a week of wrestling. Like from now, a week from now, we're going to be overloaded with wrestling. AEW, WWE, doesn't matter, NXT. There's so much to get through. This is a hell of an exciting week. In a way, it is kind of a WrestleMania again. It feels like WrestleMania version 2, if you will. And that's a fun thing to say. So everybody, I want to thank you for listening. Again, consider heading over to Patreon and searching out the WWE podcast, because for $1 you get that immersive experience of joining all of us in a VIP chat area during the pay-per-view and ad-free shout out on the show and so forth. Or just you want an ad-free experience and you already have Apple, go over to Apple and click the ad-free button. It's right on our homepage, and you don't have to do anything different. There's no login, there's nothing. You just click the button and off you go on Apple Podcasts. So, all right, everybody, thank you as always. And you guessed it, I'll talk to you next time.